found it. So.
Yeah, no, that happened to me like a month or so ago. Like I had to start just like going to some different spot on Google and then like manually joining myself as opposed to the other way.
And with that, the lounge invites you into the homes.
Baseball.
Inside baseball, into your homes, into your couches, in your living rooms, into your four-wheel vehicles. 126 Sports Lounge, the hottest lounge yet of the year. I'm Travis Kriens. You got Mr. Marcus Traxler on the road driving, Google Hangouting and driving, and you have Mr. Charlie Hildebrand down south.
To be fair, one of the reasons it's so hot is because of Traxler's awesome mixtape he's been playing this whole time.
That's right. You can't prove that I'm driving and doing this at the same time, but I do have it set up through my speakers in my car, so I can hear you all very well. Because
that's pretty cool.
Well, he's not driving; he's the passenger, while his associate's driving him.
Exactly. Larry is driving.
Larry is driving. Yeah, we hear something down there. That's nice. Mr. Stacken may join later on. Charlie was not here last week, and I said that we had a bet and that you were not here because you had to watch the soccer. How was the soccer? I know you were very excited about it.
You know, I was pretty excited, and then I watched it, and I forgot how much I didn't like soccer. It just wasn't very good. I mean, you know, it's always fun when the United States wins stuff, so that's certainly a positive. But I think I saw enough soccer games at SDSU.
Oh God,
for a long time.
And staring into the sun on a Friday night, Sunday afternoon was enough to kill a man 7 times over. So.
And if not that, it was those double overtime 0-0 ties.
Boy, rough going. Unofficial halfway point of the baseball season. 89, 90 games in for a lot of teams. And things have pretty much stayed steady the last couple of months. If you were good a month or two ago, you're probably good right now. You have the Home Run Derby coming up tomorrow night in Cincinnati. You got the All-Star game on Tuesday night. Things pick up again on Friday. Charlie, All-Star game in Cincinnati, they're going with the mustaches theme. Lots of mustaches. Are you a fan of this theme?
I am. I think anything that can remind us of how awesome Tom Selleck was in the 80s is a good thing.
Very nice. Marcus, do you like the old-time baseball-y handlebar mustaches?
I do. I don't think they really say anything about Cincinnati, Ohio, but they certainly have been on the Reds mascot for a long time, Mr. Redlegs. That's kind of been associated with him. I don't remember any good when they were good in the 70s. The Big Red Machine. Did any of their players have mustaches? I don't think so.
Not that I could really recall. You know, your Johnny Benches, your Pete Rose, your Joe Morgans. No.
Joe Morgans, yeah.
Oakland A's had some mustaches, but not the Cincinnati Reds.
Right.
So.
Anyway, I like it when these All-Star games take on a little theme, a little motif. I think it's good. Mustaches are fairly likable. Unless you have a bad mustache, then it's terrible, creepy. But I like how they have the one, you know, when the Twins were playing them just a few weeks ago, they kept showing the one tall building that they have there in the city. And at the top of the building had to have like an old-time train engineer hat and a mustache. I thought that was kind of cool. So.
Do you like the hats they're going to wear?
Well, I don't know. I saw, you know, a couple months ago the designs. I think some of them are not going to be real good. I can't think of the ones that I didn't like off the top of my head, but it's just like anything. The colors that we like, you know, the teals, the purples, the oranges. I think they'll probably be fine. But I think it could be ugly. The ones with like black hats and then the horizontal lines that were either red or blue, those aren't going to be real great.
Next year, it's in San Diego. I don't know what they're going to do with that. I believe 2 years from now, it's down in Florida or down in Miami. And you know how you see all the hats with all the different colors? Like you'll see a Yankees hat that's green or a Twins hat that's like black and it doesn't correlate at all. There's a lot of like lime green in that Marlins Stadium, so maybe everybody's hat will just be a lime green, ugly-looking hat off the wall like that. So.
Do you want an idea for the San Diego one?
What could we do for the fathers?
for the San Diego one, you spend the whole time talking about moving it to another place, and then during the game, you spend the whole time saying, we're actually going to play this in Los Angeles at some point later.
Wow. Played in the Coliseum with about a 250-foot left field with a fence, and the Coliseum probably fit 90,000. It's a good-sized building, and it's all populated with Phillip Rivers kids. That's how you bring the kids in. Baseball is an old sport with a bunch of old guys watching. You bring in their kids. So I like your thinking.
They should play the All-Star game at Qualcomm Stadium. One for Matt Harvey, and two just to embarrass the Padres.
We're not here to talk about baseball. We're here to talk about Qualcomm and the many services that they offer. We'll talk about the baseball next week. The Yankees lead the American League East. That is a surprise to me. The Kansas City Royals lead the American League Central. They are the best team in the American League. That is a surprise to me. And the Angels are percentage points ahead of the Houston Astros for the lead in the West. The Houston Astros, they are a bit of a surprise to me in the playoff mix, with the Twins leading the wild card with the Houston and the Angels there as well. Marcus, break down that American League from what we thought it would be 3 months ago.
Well, I'm reminded today that my picks were not great. I think I have one of the 5 teams currently in a playoff slot. I thought the Red Sox would be better. I thought the Tigers would be better. And I believe I thought the A's would be better, or the Mariners. I think both those teams I might have in the playoffs.
Mariners and White Sox.
So this is not what's that?
You had a Mariners White Sox wild card with the Indian. Everybody had the Indians winning the thing except me. I had Chicago. So.
Oh man. Well, I'm not proud of that wild card pick, obviously. I mean, the weird thing about Chicago, I know we don't need to spend a lot of time on a last place team, but they have competent pitching, and their lineup shouldn't be as bad as it is. So that's frustrating if you're a White Sox guy. The Tigers' pitching, as we saw in this series against the Twins, has been pretty terrible. The Royals have droves of pitching, especially in their bullpen, and they have a lot of offensive pieces that are fitting together nicely. I think that's, if I had to pick one team sitting in this scenario to be a lock, they are the league leader in the AL, but I would say they are your lock team. Houston is fading, and I think they'll fade a little bit more. I think they can still make that wild card game. I know we've talked a little bit about it here in the lounge, that the lounge would probably explode if it was Astros Twins in the wild card game, but maybe that's a possibility. I think the Angels are going to win the West, and I think it will be, I don't know if these are probably going to be the team to win it.
You're going with the Yankees out east.
I mean, I don't want you to hold me to that because I have no idea, but that's, if I had to make a pick, that's the one today.
Well, they've got a 3.5 game lead over Tampa Bay. I said Tampa Bay would be the worst team in the league, and they are not. They've a hellacious stretch, as I'm sure Mr. Traxler is aware. The Rays, a hellacious stretch here. They beat up on Houston, though, this weekend pretty good. Toronto, I mean, I just don't take them seriously. I think Baltimore is their only competition there. Still 4 games back. You got Kansas City, 52-34, a .605 winning percentage. They're the best team in the American League. They are 5 games better than actually 4.5 games better than the Twins. We'll get to the Twins, obviously, later on. Twins are the second best team record-wise in the American League. Charlie, I don't believe anybody in our pick'em or prediction at the beginning of the year picked the Kansas City Royals. We picked somewhere between 10 or 11 of the 15 American League teams, some combination of that, to make the playoffs. Nobody picked the defending American League champions. Where would you put Kansas City as far as the teams that you are most surprised at the halfway point?
They wouldn't be in my top 2 or 3 most surprised, because I mean they finished the year well last year, but I would still say that they are surprising. They'd probably be like 4th or 5th, because I'm trying to remember back to what we all said when we were doing these predictions, and I think it was they can pitch pretty well. they hit horribly in the playoffs. They'll probably be solid this year, but I don't think they'll be able to keep up this hot streak. And up through this point, they've done quite well.
Their starting pitching is, you look at those names and you're like, bring them on. We'll face all of them. Let's Joe Blanton filling in, Chris Young, Volquez. He had 100-plus pitches in 5 1/3 innings. Ventura's been hurt. Danny Duffy struggled. You look at that starting pitching staff, and I'll say, let's line them up. Let's play a game. The bullpen's been great again. Marcus, why is Kansas City good again?
Well, it's that old cliche for a baseball game where you try to shorten the game, and they're probably better than anybody in baseball at shortening the game when they get the ball to their bullpen. They have some serious guys who can shut you down. Wade Davis, I believe, being the chief guy for them, and he's not their closer, as you would probably wisely point out. I just think, you can get by with Joe Blanton and Chris Young when you really only need 6 innings at most of decent baseball. They're certainly not asking their guys to get complete games, and it makes I think it probably takes a lot of pressure off their pitchers, knowing that they have competent guys in the bullpen who aren't very likely to blow the game.
And let's remember the other thing that really helps the Royals out is all the talent that they have. We know fan voting in All-Star games is the most unbiased way, and you look at all the guys they had voted to the All-Star game and all the votes they got. It just shows that they're just dripping with talent like those Yankees teams of yore.
That's right. A spoiler for the Butera Hitter of the Week, I will nominate Mike Moustakas. As for mentioned, he's an All-Star. He won the final vote. He's a terrible player before this year, and this does not appear to be. He's at 294 right now with 7 home runs and 34 RBIs. That's okay, but he's been awful this week. He was awful the last 2 weeks, and he hasn't been very good for the last month. So I don't expect his near 300 season to continue. So he would be an early nominee for Butera Hitter of the Week. We got into it last week about the fan voting, whether that should happen or not. Charlie, your thoughts on the fan voting? Is this something that's necessary in any sport?
I don't like it. I see why they do it, and if you want to have the fan voting be like 20% of it or something like that, I think I could understand that. But you should never have fan voting be the sole determiner of anything, because it just means that people get on their computers, vote, and now it depends on how they set it up. Sometimes you have to delete your cookies again or to vote again. Sometimes you don't. And I know I deal more with it, like with college football stuff, but it's like, oh, hey, we have a college football question. And it's like, oh, that's weird. It turns out that Nebraska and Auburn and Notre Dame are winning it every single time they do it. And I think there's a lot. The only difference this year than most years is that the Red Sox and Yankees have not. I guess the Yankees are leading the division now, but they do not have the sole stranglehold with the guys who have started there and been fantastic for a decade, like at times in the past. But yeah, long story short, I'm not for fan voting. If fan voting is going to be part of it, it's got to be less than half the criteria.
Should every team have an All-Star? Is that rule still a good rule?
I think if it determines home field advantage, then no. If you want to have, if it's just an exhibition that doesn't mean anything, I'm fine with it. If home field advantage is decided by the All-Star game, then I would not say, then no, not every team. I think you should at least have one guy from obviously the team that's hosting. I think that's reasonable. But no, not everybody if it determines home field advantage.
Marcus,
which means that it just shouldn't determine home field advantage.
That's right. They should maybe base it on record. If you have a better record, you should host the game. A weird situation like that. Marcus, should every team be represented here? Do we need a representative from the Philadelphia Phillies this year? Marcus.
I would say I have a bigger problem with that rule than I have with fans voting. I mean, there's just sometimes where everybody on a team is not very good, and I don't even know who the Phillies representative is.
Papelbon.
He's probably not very deserving. I can In the American League, I'm pointing to a guy named Brock Holt from Red Sox, not deserving on that front. And I just think it's kind of a slap in the face to the fans who actually pay attention to the game and know that this team's trash this year. I don't think if you're a fan of baseball or if you're a fan of a given team, I don't think you need your guy to be involved to care about the All-Star game. You shouldn't, at least.
I think it seems like All-Star games are always sort of like trying to have your cake and eat it too, and baseball's just taking it so much further with it's now important and it counts, but it also has to be fun for everybody at the same time, and you just can't balance all of that stuff and not have some weird things happen.
And the thing
I think baseball's All-Star game could, if you took away some. I mean, I advocated last week for the fan voting. I think it's important that the fans have some sort of say. I'm fine with it being 50% or less or whatever. But I think it could be pretty fun if you leave home field advantage on the line. That's pretty clearly something they want to keep doing. I think it should be as competitive as possible. Let's see the top guys. Let's treat it like a normal game. Let's not worry about getting everybody into the game. And if you're playing for home field advantage, let's play it like a real game, or as close as you can, given that it still is an exhibition technically.
Are we throwing starting pitchers 3 innings, 6 innings? What are we doing?
3 innings, yeah. And I mean, then I don't think there's anything wrong with giving it over to guys for 1 inning at a time after that point, because guys can really bring it if they know they're only going to be in there for a few batters. I think that's fun.
I know, and the bright side for baseball is they've got by far the best. Well, I can't speak for the NHL because I'm not a hockey guy, but baseball, even when it's weird, is 10 times better than the basketball or football All-Star game. So certainly there's less changes. They don't have to. I mean, it's already watchable in the first place and better than the other ones. And there's certainly things they can do to make it better. But the bright side is, like, people actually want to watch the baseball All-Star game a lot of time, where, like, I know they have an NFL All-Star game. I don't know anyone who's ever been like, yeah, I'm going to sit down to watch this.
Because you have certain rules. You can't blitz. You can't do this. The main thing with the Pro Bowl is don't get hurt. And you have certain guys, obviously, playing it before the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl teams are not on there. And you'd expect a couple guys for those teams to make it. So it's not a very good game. The NBA, they don't try for the majority of it. Baseball, it's like every other baseball game. There's no difference rules-wise. They play it just like always. The weird thing is the game starts with the best players, and then the farther you get into the game, the high-leverage situations, the important situations, that's when the worst players come into the game. So that's I always found that interesting. And the longer the game goes, the worse the players get, the higher the leverage of the situation.
What if they made some sort of rule for the All-Star game in baseball? Like, not unlimited substitutions, but like you can take, let's say, like 2 guys and move them in and out as you please, or like, we're going to take this guy out and pick like 2 of them to be like, we're going to take him out, but if it's close, we're going to put him back in the game later.
That'd be fine with me. I'd like that. You get a big-time outfielder you take out after 3 innings, and like, we need this guy in the 9th inning, we're putting him back in. Because that's what you want to see. You want to see pitcher A versus batter A with the game on the line. So instead of just 2 guys that may or may not be worthy of an All-Star appearance. So. In the National League, it's a little different than the American League. It's all the teams we thought who would be there. We have Washington. They have a 2-game lead over the Mets. We have the Dodgers, a 4.5-game lead over the Giants. And the Cardinals, a 3.5-game lead over the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Pirates, they're the second-best team in all of baseball, and the Cardinals are the best. So it's interesting that in both the American and National League, the 2 best teams, record-wise, are in the same division, both of those being the American League Central. National League thoughts halfway through, Marcus. It's exactly what we thought it would be. Marcus Traxler. Have we lost him somewhere between Salem and Freeman? I believe we have, yes. Charlie, National League.
the first thing that sticks out to me, if I remember prediction-wise at the beginning, I think everyone picked the Cardinals to win the NL Central except me, and I did not even have them making the playoffs.
What did you do here?
When it comes, like we've talked at times about being held accountable for predictions. Yeah. The Cardinals, not good for me. I don't know. Yeah. I was like, hey, I'm going to mix this up, and at least I know I didn't have them winning the Central. I don't think I had them making the playoffs, period. So that was an error in judgment.
Yeah, everybody had the Nationals, everybody had the Dodgers. Drue and you had the Pirates. Pretty good call. Hold on here. Phone call. Hello, you're live on the Sports Lounge. What can I do for you?
Groundbreaking television.
Eamon would like to join the program. We've been at. What's it take you to? Okay. I sent something on Facebook here. Oh, let me try something. Here. Charlie, the Padres, they somewhat of a disappointment. We had a few people pick the Padres. They could be sellers here at the trade deadline. Are they a disappointment to you?
They really are a disappointment to me. I know my sister is married and is moving out to San Diego soon, and that was one of the reasons I picked the Padres. And I thought, hey, it'd be fun if they were good, especially if they're good for the next few years. I could go out there and visit a Padres game in great weather, which I certainly still could do and probably will do now. But
I sent you an invite.
They've struggled, and I think whenever you're struggling, it's probably a good idea to be a seller at the trade deadline. You don't want to give away the farm, certainly, but sometimes you got to build more for the future instead of the present.
Is she married, or is this coming up?
She is married now. And then when her husband's done with some sort of Navy training in like a month, then they move to San Diego. Okay. And Traxler, can you hear us again now?
Traxler's all over the place here. Is that working? It ain't working.
Somewhere along the rolling plains of South Dakota.
Well,
Traxler's signal's not coming through quite as ideally as we would want.
No, you can join when the show's going there. Any truth to the rumor she moved out there just for Holiday Bowl situations?
I think that there's a good chance that that's part of it. Yeah. I know she's not a huge sports fan, but her husband's a Nebraska fan, so they could certainly be in the Holiday Bowl a fair amount of times. And, I remember I visited San Diego once as a young child. I was in like second grade, and it was really nice. The weather was beautiful. I remember the waiters and waitresses in all the hotels were truly fantastic. It was like they were not doing that as a side job, making their living that way, and it was really good. I know.
Yes.
I remember visiting the San Diego Zoo there. That was a whole bunch of fun. I don't know. It's tough to compare it to the Omaha Zoo because I've been there since I was in second grade, but it was fun.
Right.
And Mr. Aman joins the program.
Aman, program, Aman. Yeah.
Here? Hello? You there? Hey.
You got the same phone as me?
No.
Oh, I thought you did. Son of a gun. It looked very similar.
All right. Yeah, very good. All right. I'm gonna go now. We'll talk to you later.
I'm doing this show. I'm doing this thing here. I gotta go.
I gotta go too. Yeah.
All right, goodbye. Marcus Traxler, problems near Freeman. Aiming there.
I've been there since I was in second grade. But it was
Whoa, we got some.
Mr. Aman! That is from a long time ago that I said that.
Program Aman.
Here. I think. All right.
This is show 126. That's from show 27.
No.
100 shows ago.
I thought you did. We got a little.
Yeah. Could you?
I gotta get rid of a window here.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting some strange audio.
So the San Diego Zoo would be the biggest, the best zoo at Omaha. How would you compare Omaha Zoo to the San Diego Zoo?
Well, the only thing, it's been so long, the only thing I remember about the San Diego Zoo now is they had this thing, this padded part of the floor that you could jump, and then it compared like how far each animal could jump. And as a second grader, I jumped as far as a wallaby, which I'm pretty sure is what Rocco was in Rocco's Modern Life. And that was about the only reason I watched that show for a little while, because I felt that we had a connection that way then. That as like a, I don't know, second grade, like a 7-year-old, that I could, jump, I don't know, like 1.5 feet maybe. I'm not very far.
Trampoline type deal, that sounds up my alley. That sounds like a whole hell of a lot of fun.
No, it wasn't a trampoline. It was just like you could jump, and the floor was soft because like every kid would fall on their face. And then they just had these lines. And then I remember this other kid told me he jumped like as far as a tiger. I was like, I'm pretty sure you couldn't. I don't think you could jump 20 feet. That seems a little fishy.
That's horseshit. It seems like that could be an Olympic sport, I think. Jumping on soft things instead of the sand. So, there you go. Mr. Aman joining us.
Hi.
Talking the first half of the baseball season. We're on the National League. Things seem to have gone as expected, National League-wise, and as of today, you have all 5 teams, all 5 playoff teams correctly predicted. So that's pretty good for you. You do have the Pirates winning the Central and the Cardinals in the wild card. That switched, but I mean, National League seems fairly easy to predict, and it is. Those top 3-4 teams there, how do you handicap that going forward?
Well, I mean, you have to really give some credit to projections. I know in the American League it's basically been kind of a toss-up, but with the National League, the teams that were supposed to be good basically are good. You had the Nationals not playing good for 5-6 weeks, but we know that they can go ahead and win a World Series, I think, fairly easily. I'd make them a slight favorite. I'd say the Dodgers are maybe behind them. We know that the Cardinals have a really impressive record. I don't think they're as good as what their record is, but they're pretty much going to be in the playoffs. I mean, you can't, if you start your season 60 and 29 or whatever it was they were at one point, they were right around there. So they're in position, and they, you know what? That's a team that tends to be in the NLCS just about every damn year. So they have a chance to be there again. I mean, the one team that I thought was kind of a wild card, but I thought they would end up being good was the Cubs, and generally things have gone well enough for them, just because they're young and stuff. We didn't really know what exactly would happen, but they're good. That's a good team, and I think they're better than the Mets and kind of these couple clubs that are hanging around.
Their record in one-run games, I guess that's really good. Oakland's terrible in those games. Chicago's above average in those games. You've got those 5 teams right now. The only other team with the shot of making the playoffs here, I think, would be the Giants. The Mets, they're still in the discussion, but they can't hit for anything. I think the Giants are that one team that could knock either the Pirates or the Cubs out. I mean, Giants-Mets, I mean, do you draw the line after the Giants? Do you throw the Mets in there at all? Mets are 5 games over. They're only 2 back of Washington. Washington just seems to kind of be, taking it easy here.
Yeah, I mean, anything can happen. I mean, the Mets starting pitching is really good. So if they're like unreal tear for 2 months, they'd give them a shot. I mean, I don't think. I mean,
what's going on here? We lost Aman's audio.
Hello?
We're better now. We're better. There we go.
So, yeah, it's probably going to be a pretty boring National League, in all likelihood, down the stretch. So I think it's all going to be about what the American League, how that shakes out, which there's about 15 different ways that can happen.
I mean, a couple weeks ago, you had literally like 6 teams within a game and a half of each other. Things are starting to spread out now. I don't. I think there's some teams you can just that were in the race that you can kind of eliminate now. Texas, they were a surprise. They're under 500. I don't think they're a viable contender. Detroit at 500. I mean, that pitching just doesn't look any good right now. And American League East. Handicap the American League East. Yankees 3.5 games up on Tampa Bay. I picked Baltimore. Yankees are very much a surprising team.
I think all 5 of those teams could win, so that's just ridiculous. But I think, actually, you know what? The Yankees are probably the most stable team in that division right now, which is weird to say considering, their age entering the season and the fact that Tanaka has been, not 100%, but yet there they are. And just given the fact that the Rays have been so up and down, and Baltimore still doesn't have that sort of top-end talent, although Manny Machado is probably an MVP candidate. Toronto, they're all offense. Their pitching's going to be a big question mark. And then Boston probably still has the most talent, 1 through 25 in that division. But if you're going to be 5 games below 500, that's maybe kind of too big of a hole to crawl out of. I don't know who wins that division. I would say the Yankees are probably a slight favorite, and they got a 3.5 game lead. So
I like Baltimore to begin the deal. I'll take them now. Disappointing teams. What are the more disappointing teams of the season for you?
Seattle, Cleveland. I didn't think the A's were a playoff team, but still, to have like the worst record, that's kind of nuts. Let's see here. There's one National League team that I thought would be good. Actually, no, I did not think the Padres would really be all that good. And
a lot of people like the Marlins. That's not worked out.
Yeah, the Marlins don't have any pitching at all, and with Stanton hurt, now their offense isn't that good either. So, I mean, but I didn't really see the Padres winning more than like 79 games, and they spent all this money, and not really working out for them. I mean, I think they're the same as they were last year, at least record-wise.
I mean, Cleveland, everybody was going nuts for Cleveland. World Series for Cleveland. The pitching's great, but Jesus Christ. Cleveland, come on. Get the hell out of here.
I know. They have some really good position players, too, which is interesting, but they don't really put it together. Defensively, they're just not good. I mean, they're just below average. Sure. And so, I mean, you would really just think with Kipnis and Carlos Santana and Michael Brantley being kind of the core of that team's offense, but they just have not been winning games. And they're struggling again right now after playing well for, 10 days or so.
Seattle's another team that they added Nelson Cruz. I mean, they didn't add a whole lot else besides that, but then they were a team like Seattle. I don't think so.
Yeah, they just don't score, and I don't think they're a well-managed team. I really feel like Lloyd McClendon is probably doing more harm than good. So there we are.
Award winners halfway through as Mr. Stacken joins the program. Charlie, that's right. Stacken Sand Sleeves, week 2. You wear sleeves, we don't want you. Is that right? Is it hot? Hot as hell up there? Hot as hell, I say.
It is. We've been in the storm bunker here for a little bit. We've been watching some tornado activity near Fergus Falls. We have not gotten too much rain up here in the Fargo area. It seems to be more further south and east, but we're keeping an eye to the sky. A weather tracker here with us, so that's why we were a little late checking out the weather for the fine folks in the listening area.
What, Fergus Falls? What? Hour east, 50 miles?
About 45 minutes southeast, right on I-94.
Okay, that's nice. Charlie, National League, Bryce Harper, great start. He seems to be the favorite right now with Paul Goldschmidt. Very, very underrated. But Bryce Harper has a 7.04 slugging. That is really good, considering the second best guy is at 6.10 in Goldschmidt, so that's 100 points better slugging percentage-wise. I had questions about Harper, his health, and he had to show me something, and he has shown me something. Is there any discussion here, Bryce Harper, National League MVP?
It's as of now, it's tough to say anyone else. It sounds like Harper really took your considerations and your questions about him to heart, and really wanted to work on his game over the off season, and has really come out like a like an early 20th century Monopoly buster, and is just destroying everything.
Yeah, I think this is a runaway. I don't really think it's very close. I know that people like Paul Goldschmidt are really good, and maybe Stanton would have hit 53 home runs if he isn't going to miss a month. But there's some frankly some Barry Bonds-ish type statistics with Harper as far as his walk rates. Pitchers do not like pitching to Bryce Harper, and so they're not. He's got like a 370 ISO, which means that. Wow. Which means that he really hits the ball a long way and in the gaps pretty much every time he makes contact. He's a good defensive player, and he's only 22 years old, so this is pretty ridiculous what's happening.
Do you expect him to go to the Marlins with another superstar 5 years from now to win a title, since he can't win one on his own? Do you expect that?
He's gonna adopt the LeBron James style of yeah. That would be really interesting. The problem is that in baseball, you have to pay all those guys $79 million a year, and all of that money goes into their pockets. So that's going to be hard to pull off. But if there's no salary cap, what the hell? Go ahead.
I think no income or state income tax in Florida.
True.
That's why our barbecue stash is down in the extreme southeast of this country. So,
hi, Marcus.
Muggus.
Hello.
I think you can very easily make the case for Goldschmidt looking at the numbers. They're only 6 games worse than Washington, which if team record means anything to you, Arizona is one of those teams that are better than we thought they would be. Average the same on base, basically the same within 10 points of each other. The slugging percentage, that's the big gap of 100 points right there. The WAR, what is it good for? Harper's at 6.2. Goldschmidt 5.6, so that's a bit of a gap there.
Weighted runs created.
What do we got here? I got to look this up.
Harper's at like 215. I think Goldschmidt's maybe like 180.
That's a bit of a gap. I'm assuming those would be top 2 in all of baseball. 5 more home runs for Harper, 9 more RBIs for Goldschmidt. Goldschmidt, surprisingly to me, 16 stolen bases. He's got a chance to be a 30-30 guy. He's going to hit close to 40 home runs, going to have 25-plus stolen bases. So Paul Goldschmidt, case could be made, but Bryce Harper's award to lose as long as he does not get injured. National League Cy Young, is this a similar case? Scherzer running away with some stats. Greinke's ERA is below a 1.5 at 1.3 something. Kershaw's numbers are very good, but he's not going to win it because his record, which doesn't make any sense. It seems like this is Scherzer and Greinke's race here.
Yeah, I think so. There's a few other guys. I'm thinking of like Garrett Cole.
Yep.
Is kind of lingering, but yeah, right now it's Scherzer, and I think it's Zach Greinke. Yeah, I don't think any pitchers really got this thing in the bag. I think it could be, 3 or 4 guys that put up a good case.
Jacob deGrom, very good. He's been better than Matt Harvey this year.
Well, if there's a 6-man rotation, he's only going to pitch once a week.
Yeah, let's do it for the 6-man. We like the 6-man. We like it. Marcus, you got the advanced metrics saying one thing, you got the real numbers saying another. How do you balance those out when it comes to, as you join the chat yet again, I don't know if you even heard me here. Marcus, how do you balance out when you're looking at stats for certain awards, the advanced metrics and the actual ERA type stuff? How do you balance those two out when determining your best pitcher?
I like to use. Isn't ERA plus the one where average is 100?
Yes, it compares you to everybody else.
Yes. I mean, if your guy has a good WHIP, under 1, WHIP seems to be a pretty good indicator of guys let on base. ERA is a pretty straightforward stat. I mean, obviously we know wins and losses are pretty deceiving. I'm also curious in ways that guys get out, so I look at fly ball to ground ball ratio from time to time.
Do you like ground balls better, or do you give guys...
Ground balls don't usually end up as home runs. So
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
You don't know about that? Okay.
Yeah.
So I tend to be a fan of the ground ball.
Clearly, you've never played on a sloped downward field.
Safe.
Right. Right. Well, one of these teams eventually will pick up on my idea of having, hazards on the field. When they do, that will give them a big home field advantage. But so far, nobody's caught on to that.
Like the MVP Baseball 2005 mini hitting game.
Can you put stuff on the field?
Well,
there's a hitting game that has,
and there's like all sorts of weird stuff that.
What would you
don't want to hit to?
If you could?
If you hit,
I think the vortex in the game would be tough.
I would put like some
a little quicksand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe like an alligator.
So my ideas are for like a
Komodo dragon.
Ooh, here's an idea.
A pit in center field, and usually the center fielder would be standing in the pit, and then he'd run out of the pit to catch a fly ball or whatnot. I also like the idea of like grown shrubs in the right or left field corner. So if the ball goes in there,
live ball.
You gotta dig it out. It's live ball, yeah. It's not like it can't be like Wrigley Field where it's in there. I'm not getting. No, you gotta go in there and get it. You have to get it out. And I also like the idea of like quicksand or mud in one of the corners too, so that if you have a ball roll into the corner, it's not gonna come back to you. You have to go get it. It's going to stop in that corner. This was like a whole thing that a friend and I did in high school where if we were like to renovate our home baseball field, what would we do to it? And because we were the Coyotes, one of the ideas was to have a chained up live coyote in the outfield. That would be a menace for the outfield. I would also be open to putting that behind home plate, though, to cut down on the pass balls, wild pitches, sort of thing.
I think one thing to go from a different angle I would throw in there is have a whole bunch of like really cute puppies in the outfield to distract a little bit, but also so it's like, well, I can't run that direct straight line because I'd run over them and then everyone would hate me, so I got to run around them.
I'd run over them all day.
Jesus.
Get him out of here.
That's because you don't have any sleeves on. That's what no sleeves people say. That's what sleeves and sleazy sound similar.
Nice.
And with regards to the whip, only Adrian Peterson uses it better.
Whoa! Big gun stacking, taking out the big shots.
Topical, too.
Mike Vick, you dog killer.
He ain't, yeah. Whipping it up.
Actually, I would stay away, in all honesty, I'd probably stay away from the puppies since I don't like dogs. So.
Oh, really?
I'd be deathly afraid. You should hit it towards me in that general direction. I wouldn't want to go near the puppies.
Oh, we'll be hitting it to you. There's no doubt about that.
Well, terrific.
I would put an electrical current onto second base.
Nice.
And then like once every 100 times, a 100 shot that it's like, I don't know, a couple thousand volts or something.
Jesus Christ.
And so it's like a risk every time you touch second base. That would be pretty exhilarating, I think.
What if you make it so, like, on the pitcher's mound, the rubber, and it would have to probably not be rubber, be something else, but you make it so, like, whenever he throws it to first to pick off a guy that he's not going to have a chance to pick off, there's like a 1 in 20 chance that he gets electrocuted then.
Nice, I like that. Cut down on these frickin' pickoffs.
And it would probably increase steal attempts as well, I would assume.
So.
Let's make the pitcher's rubber a steel grate. I feel like that'd be better for pushing off of anyway.
A cheese grater?
It's also a lot easier to clean that way, too.
And better possibility for weird hops, because baseball is all about weird hops anyway. Let's get a liner that hits the steel grate and flies into the stands, ground rule double.
I would also just put like 300 just like snakes onto the field.
Jesus Christ.
Not necessarily like poisonous, killer, venomous snakes, but just 300 snakes.
Well, then why don't you just have the what's that three-headed dog in Harry Potter? Why don't you just have one of them just like come out of center field somehow, just like a big giant door, and then
Stacking, we're talking about realistic things.
Yeah, get your bullshit Quidditch stuff.
Quidditch. All foul territory is sand. I'll leave it at that.
Quicksand.
I like
Quicksand.
Quicksand.
I like that it's only in foul territory. That makes it interesting.
So there'd be like never be a double down the line because it would stop immediately past third base.
And in the baseline for the runners, one stadium every day somewhere, there's a bear trap hidden beneath the dirt. So if you don't step in it right, you're gonna get caught.
Be like that old man from Fox and Hound. Have his leg broke. I'm in the bear trap.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll do it so it's not like gonna truly shatter your leg. It's just gonna be really painful and uncomfortable, and you're gonna fall on your face then.
You'll be on the DL for a few weeks. So
honestly, like if the ball was like made of chocolate, that would just be funny. I would like that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
American League winners. Halfway through, I like Dallas Keuchel for my Cy Young. Jesus Christ. He's got a WAR of 4.7. The next best is Sonny Gray at 3.8. You got Sonny Gray, you got Chris Sale. Those seem to be the three. You want to put Chris Archer in that discussion to go ahead. Nathan Stacken.
Yeah.
Break down that American League Cy Young race, because it seems to me to be very close.
Chris Sale. I'm done.
You're done.
Walk off. And
Really?
I guess I think you still have to put King Felix in the discussion, though Seattle's been really bad. But I'd say you're right. Sale and Keuchel and Felix Hernandez, and I'm pretty sure there's no one else.
Sonny Gray. Drue.
Like I said, pretty much no one else.
Drue.
Eating hard.
I mean, and Sonny Gray's got a 2.04 ERA. His whip's very good. Keichel's very good. Sale. I mean, I picked Sale to win the deal at the beginning of the year. Obviously, my favorite pitcher. I'm not so sure I would go with him just because his strikeout numbers are so high. His ERA is at 2.7.
Do you know where Sale went to school?
The Dunk City. Yes.
That's right.
Seems like he would fit in well there. AL Cy Young.
Yeah. Well, I feel like there's a couple more Florida Gulf Coasters in the majors right now, but I can't think of them. Yeah, I think it's Sale. We didn't mention Corey Kluber, which is sort of an interesting thing to consider because, at least 4-9, but it's like he pitches a bunch of innings. He's a horse, strikes out a lot of guys, doesn't walk many guys, like a true ace. Boy, I mean, who else is out there? I think maybe Michael Pineda, but I don't really think he's got that good of a case. So, it's probably Keuchel and Sale and Kluber and maybe somebody like David Price.
Tommy Malone is. How about I blow your socks off here? Tommy Malone is 18th. Nope, make that 17th. He has the same WAR as Corey Kluber. 2.0. Wow. How about that? Tommy Malone, Cy Young.
That's the thing, folks.
Huh?
That's the thing.
Does that diminish the WAR stat at all if Corey Kluber and Tommy Malone have the exact same WAR, despite Kluber pitching 70 more innings and having 110 more strikeouts?
Well, I think you must be looking at Baseball References.
This is ESPN.
ESPN. All right. Well, they must emphasize ERA more than some other sites. But, yeah, that's kind of silly. I think Kluber is much more valuable, and in general, it has been better than Malone has. I know Malone's had a couple good starts here and there, but it's all I mean, there's much more luck involved when there's a guy who throws 88 and doesn't strike very many guys out. He also walks more guys than he probably should. So it's good that Malone's been helping them out, helping the pitching staff out. But I don't know if that's gonna stretch into October.
Chris Archer, according to this, has a WAR of 2.8. That would be the 7th best in the league. Who also has a 2.8 WAR? Be tied for 7th. Any takers?
Clay Buckholes.
No.
Brian Dozier.
No, not Brian Dozier.
Felix Hernandez.
Kyle Gibson is the answer. Kyle Gibson.
Interesting.
How about that? Yes. MVP. Trout. Cabrera.
Oh, I didn't get. I would like to say that I'm picking Chris Sale for Cy Young as a direct protest to the Dallas Keuchel love coming from
right?
one.
Is that right?
Friend.
Is that right? All right. All right. Either way, either of them win. I win anyway. Either way.
No, that's not how it works. You can't pull a stack and then change midstream here in the season.
Well, I'm not. I picked Chris Sale to win the damn thing, and anything Houston related is buckets for me. I think so. Anything, floods, otherwise, anything.
This would be a good miracle story that Houston would make the playoffs after having their stadium flooded for a couple games earlier this year. Really heartfelt, and I'm sure there'll be some sad music played at the end of the year when they make the playoffs and everybody's reminiscing.
Mike Trout does not have a nickname, does he?
Millville Meteor or something like that?
What?
Millville Meteor.
Millville Meteor.
Yeah. Like Millville was like the school in New Jersey you went to or something.
They call him Walleye, Bullhead.
The stout Mike Trout.
Not bad. I'd call him Mr. War, because it seemed like this stat was confined to do what he does, and whatever he does, his WAR is extremely high, bigger than everybody else's.
There's a reason for it. I'm looking here. Let's see. Mike Trout hitting 309, 402 on base, 616 slugging, got 26 home runs, 66 runs scored, 306 ISO, so he hits the ball hard. 183 weighted runs created on Fangraphs. That is second in the majors, tied with Goldschmidt. So I think we know who our AL MVP is right now.
Who's second in the American League?
I don't know. Maybe
Brian Dozier. That's my guess for everything.
You love your Brian Dozier. The thing about Trout is his strikeout number is extremely high. Again, 85. He was going to strike out 170 times here. So
that's fine.
Not a guy that's afraid to strike out, but he appears to be the favorite. It's a shame that Cabrera got hurt and he's going to be out here for a month and a half, because it would have been another 330, 35, and 120 versus whatever Trout offers you. So we won't have that debate again. Awards at this point seem fairly. The MVP awards, Trout and Harper, the two big guys. The LeBron James and Andrea Bargnani of the league.
Absolutely.
Seem to be pretty good. So,
who did you have AL MVP? I don't know how we had it before the year.
American League Most Valuable Player. I had Abreu, of course. Abreu. He's come back to the pack a little bit.
He's been good, I guess.
Everybody else, Felix Hernandez, they liked for the American League Cy Young. American League MVP, Trout. Abreu, Cano for David. Me and Charlie took our hometown guy, Abreu. So.
Wow, Cano.
That's a bit of a rough one.
Oh no. It's interesting that we got these Astros that we pimp on a weekly basis.
Pimp him.
No, one of us pimps. One of us pimps him.
I'm making money out my ass pimping these Astros.
Pimping ain't easy.
There really is not an Astro kind of in the MVP conversation when you look at them. I mean, they got some guys that hit some home runs, but
they fascinate me. Their offense with the strikeouts and the home runs, the all for nothing. It's amazing, very unique. Never seen anything like it. Evan Gattis, his numbers have improved. He's probably going to hit 30 home runs and drive in close to 100. Historically good numbers. Amazing all around. Chris Carter's going to strike out 230 times. Springer got hurt. Abreu's he's not hitting 320 like he usually does. Correa, hard for Correa. So it's a very entertaining team to watch. So bigs up, big downs.
Yeah, Correa is sort of coming back down to earth a little bit, but he's still probably a Rookie of the Year candidate.
Now you got Devin Travis for Toronto. Sano, he's in the race now. You got Correa called up. Correa's got a good 20 games on Sano now. So those seem to be your three top guys. Diving in to the pool of the Twins. They are at 49-40, the second best record in the American League at the All-Star break. Their turnaround is because their starting pitching has been great all year. It's gotten better by the month. That's been unbelievable. The offense has been up and down. They're on an upswing right now. I think this team will be in that one-game wild card right now. Marcus, where do you stand now? 89 games into a 162-game season. The Twins with a healthy 3.5, 4-game lead in the wild card.
Yeah, they are more than halfway through the season. I think that's kind of we're on this show. We're all about show me something, and the Twins to this point have showed me that they could stick around. I'm still a little confused on what the Twins should be doing here at the trade deadline, because I'd like for them to be buyers. If they can get somebody at a reasonable price for the bullpen, I would be supportive of that. I'm not interested in leveraging the future. I don't think the Twins are either. So hopefully there's some sort of middle ground that can be sought there. Brian Dozier has been better than I think anybody could have ever thought, aside from maybe Brian Dozier. And, I think some of the right things are happening. You've got Mauer coming back to earth where he should be. That's headed for hitting 300. Miguel Sano, Buxton, they're up. If you would have said at the beginning of the season that they'd be up by the All-Star break, I think we would have taken that. And Torrey Hunter hasn't been a disaster. He's been a pretty decent player. You've had some moments where you've shaken your head about what he's doing out there. But I think there's some pieces here. Eddie Rosario has played well. The pitching has been a lot better than I thought it would be starting-wise. That wasn't what I expected. I would still expect some sort of drop-off here. That's just me, but I'm shocked that we're sitting in this scenario here more than 3 months in.
Yeah, their bullpen's not really very good, but they do have an elite guy with Perkins, so there's that. Hopefully Perkins pitches a lot over the next few months. A lot of guys who just kind of are a little bit better than maybe we kind of thought they would be. Trevor Plouffe sort of built on last year, so did Dozier. Aaron Hicks has been really good since replacing Buxton since the injury. So their outfield has a little bit more depth than we thought they would, and it's also not so terrible defensively like it has been the past 3 years. So
Kyle Gibson took a bit of a jump.
Gibson took a jump, and I sort of expect him to kind of keep pitching how he has.
Is he their best pitcher?
I mean, the past couple months, yes, because he's he's finally starting to figure out striking some hitters out.
Yes, the strikeouts almost 1 an inning. Very good.
So that's good. So I think they'll be. I mean, the Twins can play 500 the rest of the year and win 87 games?
Yeah, there'd be 9 games over. So 82 would be 85 and 70, 85 and 77, 86, and that'd be good enough, I think.
I think this year that probably gets you one of the two spots. It's going to be kind of probably right around there.
You said earlier today you would not give the division to Kansas City quite yet.
No, I wouldn't. I think if the Royals play 500 the rest of the year, I think one of the other four teams can make a run. Now, that would probably mean that the Twins don't make the playoffs because I don't think they're more than like an 86-win team. And then somebody got hot. Either Cleveland or Detroit got hot and caught up to them. But I don't know. I mean, the Royals are obviously a pretty big favorite to win this division. But, I don't know, anything can happen is basically what I'm saying.
The Alex Gordon injury certainly could affect them. And I believe, I don't know, Kriens, perhaps you covered this already, but I think that the series with the Tigers turned on that 7-run ninth-inning comeback. I don't think Detroit ever recovered over the weekend.
That was big. Down 6-1, down 7? 6-1 in the ninth?
Yep, 6-1 in the ninth. 6-0 in the bottom of the eighth.
Hell of a comeback. That game was lost.
I quit paying attention in the, I think, 6th inning.
Yeah.
2 hours later, I look at my phone. We won the goddamn game.
They won.
But if you think about it, too, what were they coming into the series or into Friday night's game against the Tigers this year? What, 2-10?
They were not good. Like something like 2-8. The Tigers were that team.
It wasn't good, and that all of a sudden I think that comeback win helped make them believe that, hey, we can beat this team. This isn't the Yankee kryptonite like in the postseason in years past. And I think maybe for Detroit it just kind of shell shocked them. And I think Detroit really, I don't give them a good chance at all of coming back in this division. I think it's the Royals and the Twins going forward here, with the Cleveland Indians maybe making a push.
Everybody likes Cleveland. They'll finish with 90 losses. All things being equal right now, who would pitch a one-game playoff? You got to win this game to get into the deal. Who do you want on that mound?
Boof Bonzer.
Bam! There are no other answers. Boof.
Big Scott.
Not fucking Scott Baker either. Nick Blackburn. Any Nick Blackburn guys out there? He pitched well in Chicago.
Christ, he already has pitched in one of those games.
He pitched great.
Can they get David Wells out of retirement? I mean, he might be drunk for it, but...
Well, Bob Wells.
Good Lord. Is there a guy you would want that you feel confident? I want this guy. Pitching against Houston, the Angels.
I already said. I said Tom.
You want Tom Malone, for Christ's sake?
No.
No.
I think Kyle Gibson at this stage.
Kyle Gibson?
Well, you know, I still think Trevor May's leading this freaking team in FIP. So.
I think he's going to be I think he's the new 8th inning guy. In a month or two, he's going to be the main setup guy.
I don't know what the hell is going to happen with that bullpen besides Perkins. I really don't. I don't know. I mean, Pelfrey's giving up 8 runs every other start the past month or so. So, I don't know.
I mean, Pelfrey, that seems like that's not going to last into September. Seems like his ERA is a 4 now. It was 2. Seems like he's a good candidate to not be in that rotation at the end of the month. So.
Anyone would get on Phil Hughes at all for a one-game playoff?
He'd probably be number 2. I mean, he's pitching like he did last month. He's turned it around. He did not start off this year good, and he's been at the very least their second best pitcher.
For real, I would give Gibson the ball in a one-off game because I think he's gonna limit the chances of giving up a home run, and those tend to be big in those coin flip type scenarios.
Just make sure it's not on 7 days rest, so the sinker baller's too fresh. You don't want the sinker baller too rested now. You can't have that. And make sure there's no shadows. Make sure it's like a 7 p.m. start.
Yeah, don't want to have him feeling too good, for sure. And I don't know. I want the shadows. Let's play this game at 4 o'clock.
Have shadows all night long. Put that in the ballpark.
Artificial shadows.
That. A pet peeve of mine is this thing. Buyers or sellers? Are they a buyer or are they a seller?
Jim Harbaugh doesn't like that either.
Good. I like Jim Harbaugh. He's a good man.
Drinks milk, whole milk, not that skim shit.
That's the real deal.
Oh, buy. Oh, I thought you meant like a buy.
Jesus Christ. What do you mean a buy? I thought you meant like an off week. Okay. Well, we're gonna have to end this. I'm sorry. This was just an abortion of an interview. We got to end the show early here. We tried, but you know.
Okay.
The Padres, for instance. Justin Upton's a free agent. If you want to trade a free agent, that's fine. Somebody mentioned them trading Shields. That's not necessary. Charlie, can a team just stay pat? If they have a disappointing year, can't they just say, well, certain things didn't happen. Let's just try again next year. Same folks.
I've always kind of wondered that. It seems like you are only a buyer or only a seller, and there's no middle ground at all. I guess like lots of things that don't have middle grounds. I don't know. It's weird. I've always kind of thought that, like I get that if some guy's towards the end of his career or is at the end of his contract and is like a less than 5% chance to re-sign, I understand why you deal guys like those, but they're like, no, you're 8 games out, so you have to sell, you have to trade away your 2 really good prospects and this other guy that's really good. It's just obviously it depends on what you get offered and everything, and there's certainly different situations mean different things. But I would agree with the point it sounded like you were kind of trying to make, that if you want to keep your really good players and try to be good next year, that's not against the rules, and you can do that if you feel so fit.
That's right.
I think the White Sox are a team that should maybe think about letting go one of their good players and getting a few prospects, because their lineup is really not good. If Abreu is really their only guy who really does much of anything.
Alexi Ramirez, one of the worst. He had a great year. He maybe had his best offensive year last year. He's probably having his worst year this year. He's been awful.
He sucks. He's not a good player.
It's almost a virtual lock that they're going to trade Samardzija, because I didn't realize at the
He's a free agent.
He's only on a 1-year deal, so might as well get rid of him.
You gotta try to get some position players that are gonna be worth a damn, and maybe you can in a trade, because you still have Sale and Quintana and maybe Carlos Rodon will keep getting better.
Rodon.
There we go.
There you go.
Would you consider like a team like Seattle staying packed, or they've been a fairly big disappointment.
Well,
for God's sakes, I had them in the World Series.
Yes.
On my part.
Well, I had Oakland in the World Series, for Christ's sake. It's like, Nelson Cruz, he's done very good. But their offense sucks, but it hasn't been because of him. Cano, you can't trade him because he's making, $180 million for the next 9 years. Last year that looked great. This year that looks god-awful. I don't like who they added Mark Trumbo a month ago trying to spark the offense. I don't know, So, the American League, a lot of teams are in it, so maybe you look at the National League, and it's going to be, a lot of National League teams trading out.
I think the Phillies need to stay intact.
Huh! Yeah, if one team needs to get the hell out of here, it's the goddamn Phillies. Holy hell. They're going to lose 105 games. That's awful. 29-62.
Yeah, 29 wins. Wow.
Stack, and if you think you're bad at the pick'em, they're about 12 games worse than you are in real life, okay? Think about that.
I did good this week. What did I go? 5-2, I think.
You have the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Good week out of you.
It should have been 7-0. Are we doing a pick'em this week?
It was no 6-1.
Charlie got
Sorry,
that
I had to cough.
Yes, he's.
You know what? The Twins have been winners in this pick'em more than once.
I believe I took them. They went 5-1 for me, or something like that, 4-2 or whatever.
I'm waiting until August.
Yeah, you better go into July here. Apparently, Marcus, he runs the deal here. We are picking teams this week. I'm picking the Phillies. The Phillies play the Marlins. I'm picking the Phillies. So
Yeah, you pick only these 3 games this next weekend. So those are the only. It's just a 3-game week.
Well,
Okay.
would you say this is like?
I didn't know if we were having a bye week or something with those.
No buys. There'll be no buys.
What do you mean by bye?
I mean that the Big Ten is on the come right now, which I thought was a really weird way that he phrased that.
On the
That could
come.
be taken more than one way. One, maybe not so appropriate for radio.
He should have hung up the phone right when he said that. He should have, nope, I'm not doing this interview at all. Right
Well-
on the come.
Is that the one with Coward?
Yes.
Well, hello, Travis. How you doing today?
Oh, pretty good.
Good.
Wearing some pants. I'm on the come. So I would liken this 3-game week to like a soccer tournament in the middle of the season. That doesn't matter. Is that fair?
It doesn't seem
Every
like
soccer match is
at all.
huge.
Is this not like this NBA tournament they want to do for like a week in the middle of the season for no fucking reason, just because people like tournaments? Seems to me to be the way.
If soccer doesn't have their tournaments, then the terrorists win.
Can I pick the American League for the?
It's interesting. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
so we don't have a pick for the All-Star game.
Why doesn't baseball have a national team? Traveling the world, play in Norway and the Netherlands and such.
We do, and then they get their ass kicked in the World Baseball Classic.
No. They
It's because they have to go through those brutal Baltic countries, and it just tears them up. They just can't ever recover after the Baltic stretch.
The Baltics are like the West Coast trips. They're 10 days long. They eat you alive. It just doesn't work. David, he's picked his teams through the end of August, so we'll see if that sticks. That's an interesting strategy there.
I can guarantee that they won't.
No,
You'll change them at least 2 more times before that.
good.
I'm thinking the White Sox. They play 4 games, doubleheader with the Royals.
Oh, do they?
Thursday. Yep.
Very good. You were
Friday.
down. Sucks.
Any hitters of the week? Or maybe you'd like to propose a halfway, because at the end of the year we do a Butera Hitter of the Year, Pitcher of the Year.
Allow me a minute here to look that up real fast.
I'd mentioned to Mr. Hildebrand, I would like to nominate Mr. Mike Moustakas this week, the All-Star,
Good.
the Royals, because this week he was 2 of 23. That's awful. The last 2 weeks he's 7 of 55. That's Byron Buxton territory. The last month he's a 248 hitter. That's not any good. He's got a 310 on base the last month. How this man's an All-Star is besides me.
Moose.
This man doesn't even belong in the All-Star game. He doesn't belong in the AAA All-Star game, for Christ's sake. He's an awful player. He's god-awful.
I'm going to quote you what you have said about Andrew Luck. I'm going to say about Mike Moustakas.
Your face sucks.
His face sucks.
I'm looking at this picture. Huh.
I hate his face. Anyway.
Honestly, if we're ranking
His
faces...
is worse than Andrew Luck.
Huh?
His face is worse than Andrew Luck. It's more offensive.
Well, yeah.
He sucks.
Of all the faces I hate Mark Teixeira's face the most. His face at an at-bat pisses me off to no goddamn end.
I completely agree.
His mouth is always open. Shut your mouth, you shithead you.
Yes, we should just rank people who, just by seeing their face, we just get mad.
God damn, there's a half dozen people.
Yeah, Moustakas, very good suggestion with Teixeira.
Are we doing only baseball players?
No, people you know personally, I don't care who it is. Anybody.
This could be an interesting list then. We're going to have to do a bracket-style tournament that like Shotton set up that one time.
What person has the face that pisses you off the most?
Jakub.
Not bad. Not bad. Another...
I just pulled up his picture right now. He looks like he's sniffing something really bad.
Moustakas.
Now, for the Butera hitter of the first half, does it have to be somebody we picked for the award?
No, not necessarily. No, I mean, Alexei Ramirez, he's been... I mean, this has been bad.
What are his numbers? Because I have a guy who I don't feel comfortable nominating because I like him. But
Alexei!
at age 41, Ichiro Suzuki has not had a great year.
Well,
He's batting .253,
Well,
which is actually pretty high for our standards in the Butera Hitter of the Week. But 11 RBI, that's pretty bad. 307 on base for him is not very good, I don't believe.
that's awful.
Only 19 runs scored.
My one suggestion would be Billy Hamilton.
Oh God.
He's a garbage hitter, but he's excellent elsewhere. But he hitting like 220 with like a 250 OBP.
Yeah, that's the guy.
No power.
Yeah.
Are we doing it first half or just this week? Or
Mike Moustakas is the winner this week.
Well, this week they could do
I would also nominate Austin Stubbs for this week. He only had 2 hits. He did have 2 RBIs. It was really bad.
Austin Stubbs.
And he's playing against the the worst league because it's the American Association of Independent Baseball. And he was called up. He was called up because other players went to go play in the Pan Am games. So he was signed, and he only had 2 hits last week.
When I put
and there's your Sioux City Explorers bit for the week.
Oh, good.
We canceled the SDSU update because of lack of sponsor stacking.
Yep.
We're now doing a Sioux Cities Explore update. When I type in Austin Stubbs into the Google machine, it comes up with a Stubbs barbecue down in Austin, Texas.
Good.
Yeah, Ichiro hanging on for those 3,000 hits. He's got to play at least another year to get those. Alexi Ramirez, 227, 252, 294. That's not very good. An OPS plus of 56.
Oh, man. Oh.
Last year it was 104. Not bad. So,
those are pretty bad.
Moustakas wins it this week. A pitcher of the week. Any takers there? Marcus. Mike Montgomery had a bad week. He was nominated last week. He went with Charlie had Taiwan Walker a couple weeks ago. He was good last week again. Drew's AL Rookie of the Year.
I am seeing for the Brewers Taylor Youngman.
He had very well today.
2.15 ERA. He's got 7 starts on the year, and his last 3 games, 4 earned runs total. Yes, including today, had a very good start to top the Dodgers. 9 innings, 3 hits.
They lost to the Dodgers.
They lost the Dodgers. He pitched 9 innings and
a complete game loss.
How about Buck Farmer?
Buck Farmer.
Great name.
The best name that I can remember.
Yeah.
Tell us more about Buck Farmer from Detroit, the Tigers.
Buck Farmer. Well, unfortunately for the Tigers, Buck Farmer is considered one of their best prospects.
He ain't any good.
So their farm system is garbage, and I doubt Buck Farmer ends up being a starting pitcher, which I think he was supposed to be. He has not been very good in his major league career so far.
I want to reevaluate those career goals.
I know something he could do. You want to know?
Accounting.
He could be a farmer.
Be a farmer.
Be a hunter, a buck hunter. A guy that I would nominate for a first half pitcher of the year was a guy I had on my projected All-Star team. He made the All-Star team, Hector Santiago from the Angels. Former White Sox, he's got an ERA of 2.3, and he had to wait for an injury to make the All-Star team. He's been very good after 3 seasons of an ERA of 3.5. So he's like a guy that's pitched fairly well the last 4 years that doesn't get talked about at all. So if I didn't follow this closely, I'd say, holy shit, he's way better than I thought he was.
Former White Sox player, that I support him being our guy.
Terrific. He's our guy. Stack, and what do you think of the fights last night?
They were awesome.
Goddamn right they were. Goddamn right they were. Any other baseball thoughts before they wrap up the baseball portion of the program? Twins are looking good. I think they make the 1-game playoff.
Yep.
Any bold prediction you want to make?
if nobody has a bold prediction, you should name off our Twins prospect list that we came up
Oh, motherfucker, yes. That should be published here within the fortnight.
with. Yeah, I got to finish that.
Sometime during the next couple days, me and Eamon have put together a top 15 prospects. Sano is number 1 on the list because he was not up when we started. But he'll stay at number 1. Barrios is number 2. And we rank 15 other minor leaguers after that. Highlights of the list. Drue.
What is the highlight?
How did you what happened? Okay, how did you the rankings? A lot of rankings out there. Sano's 1, Barrios is 2. After that, let's see what we got here. Number 3 would be Tyler J, guy they picked up last month. Nick Gordon is 4, Kepler 5, Jorge Polanco 6, Alex Meyer 7, Stephen, how do we say the last name? Gonsalves 8.
That's how I pronounce it.
Who the hell knows? Cole Stewart, hate him 9. Chin Wee Hu, my guy, my favorite guy, number 10.
Who?
That's right. That's exactly right. Who is the name? H-U. Nick Birdie, 11. Adam Brett Walker, my brother, is 12. Tommy Malone Jr., Taylor Rogers is 13. Minor, I believe, another Dominican shortstop, second baseman dude, could play the outfield. He's 14. He is 12 years old. And what's the reliever here? JT Chargos.
I think it's like French, like Chargeau.
No, French. He's a Frenchman. He has he does not have a mustache.
No.
Well, I really like him. I mean, this organization is deep as all hell. They're going to be good this year. They're going to be good for the next decade, I think. You also have some people worthy of consideration down there. So
I think it's kind of like a new cycle with Buxton and Sano getting up. Rails probably pitches in the majors before the end of the year.
Polanco, I mean, he's awful at shortstop. He can't throw for shit, apparently. He's got like 6 errors in 6 games. But
that's kind of the concern with Polanco, but he's does everything sort of above average elsewhere. So I mean, it's still a good system despite what 3 of their elite guys won't be on the prospect list next year. So it should be. I think Kepler's going to be a top 100 guy entering next year. He finally put it together this year. I'm pretty excited about him. Got a really nice swing. Still kind of young yet.
Is he better than Lou Ford?
Goddamn right he isn't.
He isn't. He isn't.
Because Lou Ford is like my favorite athlete of all time. So
I believe I've told this before, but you listen to the radio shows, you hear the prospect. That's all Lou Ford. He's a comer. Lou Ford, you could say he's on the come. You could say. And he debuted, and I was like, wow, he's white. I thought he was black.
Does sound like he's black.
Lou Ford, did not believe that. Final thoughts from Mr. Aman here. We've talked about, I mean, what their roster is loaded. What do you do? I mean, Arcia, he's torn up the last 2 weeks in AAA. What do you do with these players? I mean, Jesus Christ, they got a lot of good players. You trade. So who the hell is going to get traded? And what do you want?
I don't know. I don't have any idea. I don't think I don't know how you package up a trade. I don't know how they're going to be able to do that. I think a player like Kenny Vargas probably isn't going to give you much of a return. Arcia has been overall average statistically.
He's my guy. If I'm trading somebody, he's my guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's shown enough that maybe a couple teams would be interested. Some teams are really looking for a power bat who's still young. I think he's still only 24. So do you trade Trevor Plouffe and just like give third base to Sano? I
keep Plouffe.
That's probably a little bit of a risk. You could probably get a pretty good collection of a couple guys if you package like Plouffe and an Arcia. I don't know. Maybe get a good starting pitcher. I don't know.
Pinto, I mean, what's his deal? He's got the concussion. I mean, catcher's a weakness. Catchers are a weakest spot. They don't have anybody coming up.
Yeah, he would be mostly a throw-in. I mean, with his concussion problem, so he's probably out as far as a catcher. And so, what other position does he have? You know, DH, first base. But I don't think. I mean, I'm a big fan of Pinto being, but I mean, as far as him being like a big trade piece, that's not going to be a thing.
You like Ramos more than Pinto?
Well, no, Pinto Bean's my guy. It's just, that's just what I prefer.
Marcus, do you have a guy? Obviously, Sano, I've called my doctor many times for the 4-hour limit.
And rightfully so, your doctor is no longer answering those phone calls.
Nor should he.
Within his rights. He's not going to accept you as a patient.
He's the greatest of all.
Just light a match. Travis, just light a match.
Light a match!
And, I mean, do you know where I'm going? You know where I'm going with it?
Yeah, you light a match and it makes the smell go away, and then you're good.
Yeah. You burn your wrist, that spot.
Burn my wrist
Yeah, and then that will distract
from my thing.
Yep.
Well, Stacken, would you recommend that?
Never.
Never. Have you tried that?
Never.
Are you kidding me? Look how he's dressed. He rubs out cigarettes in little kids' arms all the time.
Well, actually, me and Aaron Cromer just got back from a fishing trip this weekend, and we got in a fight with some kids. So
Jesus. Did you win?
I escaped. He did not. He had to go sit in jail for a couple hours.
Good.
So you didn't win. You didn't win.
I did because I got away.
No, that sounds like you lost the fight.
Yeah, I don't think I ran away counts as winning.
When the cops show up, you dash. That's the
dash.
I mean, doesn't it look like I would have just gotten a fight at some hick farm or something like that?
You look like you got in a fight with some street toughs.
Redneck trailer.
When the cops show up, it's bye.
When the Greasers or the Sharks or the Jets show up, we got to get out of town, and we got to snap real quiet so they don't hear us. We can't break out in song.
I ran a 4.740 on the sand just to get away from the cops.
Holy balls.
Yeah, I think the cops are a bye, personally.
They're on the come. I believe On the Come will find its way into our discussions, very much so, in the many, many decades to follow.
My computer's going to die, and I'm not near a charger, so...
Well, I do have a trivia question, if you're interested in a trivia question.
Is this a quick one?
It could take 20 minutes.
All right.
Gentlemen, can you name the baseball team games played leader from the decade 2000 to 2009? I'm looking for the player that played the most games for each team. Sioux City Explorers, not on the list.
Holy shit.
Who are we starting with?
Drue Aman, Marcus, Nathan, Charlie. Most.
I can pick any team.
Any team you want, just name one of the 30 guys on the list who played the most games for a team during that decade, 2000 to 2009.
Wait, okay.
All right, Jeter, Yankees.
Jeter. Yes. 1,500 games. That's the most of any player. Exactly. Larry. Name the shortstops in the AAA All-Star game that made errors last year. Jorge Polanco all the time.
I'm just gonna guess. I'm gonna guess on all these. Albert Pujols.
Yes.
Damn you. That was my guess.
1,399 games. He is second on the list, so the top two guys have been named.
I'm going to take a shot in the dark with this one.
Put the gun down.
What?
Put the gun down. No shooting.
Use my fists. Come on.
Bam.
We will say, you're going to go Torrey Hunter.
Yes. Minnesota Twins.
Oh, man, I'm going to be the first
Torrey
person.
Hunter. Sorry,
I'm going to be the first person to get one wrong.
You don't have to name the team, just the player. Don't hate the game, just hate the player.
Well, I've got two, and they conceivably could be right. So, Kriens, should I guess for the Orioles or the White Sox?
You should guess for the White Sox. You should not guess for the Orioles.
So it's not Miguel Tejada for the Orioles then. So I'm guessing Paul Konerko for the White Sox.
Paul Konerko on the list. I lied. He is second with 1477. Everybody makes it to the second round. Badoomp. Drew. 26
I'm going to go Todd Helton.
Todd Helton for the home team. Yes.
Right.
Colorado.
What is the time period for this?
2000 to 2009, the previous decade.
Okay.
Twins have been said, Colorado, Chicago, St. Louis. Who else?
And this is each team.
and New York.
Each team. And the Yankees, yes. Most of these gentlemen are over 1,000. 8 guys are under 1,000. Jeter tops a list of 1,500.
I'm gonna say Ichiro.
Ichiro! Yes. Seattle Mariners, 1,400 games. Stack it.
That'll be Poppy.
You're going with him?
Yep.
Nope.
Shit.
Let me see here to confirm. No, he's not. He's not on my list. I'm sure he would be in the top 2 or 3, but he's not number 1. Do not guess the Baltimore Orioles, please. Nobody, unless you want to have balls of steel. If you guess the Orioles right, I may give you the whole game.
I don't know. Pretty much anyone I could think of that would be realistic's been taken already. Now I'm just trying to think of someone who's even in the ballpark of a reasonable guess.
There's probably, I would say, 3 guys on this list.
Let's say
that are in that category of well-known Pujols, Jeter type.
Let's say Vladimir Guerrero.
No. Good guess. Would have been with the Angels.
See, I remember he played with the Angels for
No
a
list.
long time.
Not on the list. It's down to 2. The rivalry renewed. Aman and Traxler. Chapter 67. What do we got?
Whose turn is it? Me?
Yes,
Yeah.
only 24 more guys out there.
This rivalry is really on the come.
God damn it, it is.
I'm going to guess Craig Biggio for Houston.
Craig Biggio for the Astros, not on my list.
Oh,
Biggio, Hall of
wow.
Famer, Biggio, not on my list. For the win! For the win!
This
The
guy
Patriots-
might have been hurt too much, but I'm gonna say Chipper Jones.
That's what I was going to say!
Chipper, give it to me, Stacking.
There's a Chipper Jones.
Chipper Jones is right. He is on this list. For the,
Now, do you have the Nationals on there, or do you have the Expos, or some sort of combination of the two?
a combination of the 2 Gwinnett Braves, Chipper Jones. Yes. Any other takers out there?
Who was it for the Orioles?
Anybody want to take a gander at this fucking team here?
Brady
Melvin Mora.
Anderson.
That Brian guy.
Drew had it. What'd you say?
Melvin Mora.
Melvin Mora on the list.
But
I forgot about Melvin Mora's existence till
For
right
the
now.
Phillies,
For
would it have
multiple
been
years.
Jimmy Rollins or Pat Burrell?
Jimmy Rollins was the guy.
Who's Houston? It's not Beach. It's not
Bagwell.
Bagwell.
A very underrated slugger.
Yeah.
Lance Berkman.
Lance Berkman. Goddamn.
You got Aramis Ramirez with the Cubs.
Yep.
Luis Gonzalez with Arizona. The all-time home run hitter for the Giants, Barry Bonds. Jason Varitek.
Got some names out there.
Veritek for stacking Red Sox clubs. One of the more obscure names be Johnny Peralta for Cleveland.
Boo.
Sean Green for the Dodgers. Geoff Jenkins for the Brewers. Jose Vidro for your National Expos. Jack Wilson, Pittsburgh Pirates.
Beautiful.
Mike Lowell.
He's a jack of all trades.
What?
Jack of all trades, Mr. Wilson.
He's an amazing player.
Boo.
Who was it for the Marlins?
Bobby Bonilla.
Bobby Bonilla stacking gets it.
Was that really him?
No. He was dead by the age of 12. Mike Lowell on my list.
Oh, yeah.
What about
Did he have more than 170 games with them? Because it seems like the Marlins turn over their roster every year and a half.
He led the deal with, he played 200 games with them. No, it was like 900. He was one of the guys under 1,000. No.
who for the Blue Jays? Was it Carlos Delgado?
It was Oil Can Boyd. Vernon Wells.
Sweet.
Mike Sweeney for your Royals. Brandon Inge.
Nice.
Boo.
Boo to Inge. What, British Open coming up this weekend?
We got it.
Spieth seems to be the big-time favorite here. Can he keep up with Serena Williams? Serena putting the pressure on Spieth, the new rivalry. Female tennis player and the male golfer.
We got to get those two to play like a game somehow, and then whoever wins that game is the more dominant one.
What game would you propose would be the most fair to play between a golfer and a tennis player? Ping pong?
Really?
No.
What's golf and tennis put together? I want to say like okay, maybe a bocce ball or something.
Bocce ball.
What? And bowling.
Bowling?
Yeah.
NASCAR driver? I don't know. Spieth, anybody not like this man to win? Rory McIlroy's a dumb shit, so he won't be playing. He's got to play soccer. That's fun. Anybody like Spieth not to win? Dustin Johnson.
Orange boy.
If you give me versus the field, I'll always take the field.
Absolutely. I do too.
I do think Fowler has a good chance, Johnson, and I'll give Lefty a chance. I'll give Phil Mickelson and.
Since Shattenkirk isn't here, I'll say Matsuyama.
Good.
Gonna win another major.
Matt Kuchar.
Consecutive major.
I'm assuming Tiger's the last guy that's held 3 majors at a single time, and I'm certainly not going to say it's impossible for Spieth to win, but I'll say it's really unlikely that he will hold 3 at the same time.
Let's see it, folks.
How many playoff holes did Spieth have to play today?
All of them.
Yeah, you won today? Did you win today?
Yeah, he did. He came back from 4 down on the back 9 to beat some no-namer.
Some jabron.
St. Andrews this year? Is that where it's being played?
It is. If Rory hadn't played soccer instead of prepared for the Open Championship, I'd take Rory this week without question.
Dustin Johnson, Ricky Fowler, your top 3 odds-wise. The usuals there: Rose, Adam Scott, Henrik Stenson, Louis Oosthuizen in 20-1. Tiger Woods is 25-1. He should approximately be 2,000-1. That's fucking ridiculous.
That's St. Andrews. Tiger always plays well at St. Andrews.
He was good.
Tiger said he was shocked at the way St. Andrews changed from the last time he was there.
Well, because he hasn't been good in 10 years. So.
Tiger changed, not St. Andrews.
Oh, hey, I can't make all these shots anymore. The course. He blames on the course.
Of course he does. Of course. So.
When it comes to Tiger, I think that's a buy.
I'll give you a wild card for this week, Miguel Angel Jimenez.
Thank you, please. I hope he wins.
Come on.
Whatever pisses people off, I hope he wins. One could say.
He's gonna hit a shot off a brick wall again.
I think I'm going to go all in on Rocco Mediate.
That's bold.
Okay, who's finishing better? I think he's able to play this year. Tom Watson or Tiger Woods? Which TW is finishing better?
Watson.
Got to.
John Daly or who's the old or Ben Crenshaw?
Daily.
Unbelievable. Jason Day on the come.
On the come.
126th edition of The Lounge. The baseball was broken down. We liked it. Enjoy the All-Star game. I hear Monday they'll have an exhibition where gentlemen will hit baseballs into the seats. Free baseballs for those in the outfield in Cincinnati. I'm sure some balls will hit the water.
3 balls after you pay to get in.
I agree. Can't disagree with that.
That's fact. So.
Make sure you watch the ESPYs on Wednesday night so you can watch Caitlin no wars.
Holy hell.
Don't invite him again. Don't invite this guy on the show.
The ESPYs.
I'm turning that off. I like watching the ESPYs.
No, they're trash.
Who was the best football player? I don't know. We decided that in January.
Go outside. Go drive a go-kart somewhere.
Trash, trash, trash.
Schottenkirk's not here, but the UFC last night, it was the best UFC they've ever put on. So that should be mentioned.
I read about it online.
I did.
I think in this fictitious baseball park with hazards, we should have copies of old tapes of the ESPYs all over. Because how funny would that be if someone tripped on the ESPYs and that ruined their career?
ESPYs have ruined a lot of careers. That would be the first time to be on the field.
You know, ESPN's. We didn't get the Keith Olbermann or anything like that. We'll do that. We'll do that in July of next year. But they want to cut costs. How about cutting this cost? This is a waste of fucking money and time. Jesus Christ. So I'm sure this cost millions of dollars to put on.
Yep.
The Sports Lounge for Mr. Stacken. I don't want you to see sleeves ever again. Marcus Traxler, your baseball pick'em winner. Drue Aman, the Colorado Crush general manager. Is that what they call him?
Yep. What sport are you talking about again? Is that women's
arena football? I think.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're good. We're gonna be good.
You're still recovering from that lacrosse parade, so that was a big deal. And Charlie Hildebrand trying to get the smell out of Sioux City, trying to get the wastewater plant up and running again. So
working on it.
Working on it. Second half of the baseball season next week. We'll talk about it inside the lounge.